Hello guys and welcome to Aslan Live. Before I talk about the preview of the Trabzonspor game, I want to touch upon that Türkiye qualified for the World Cup for the first time since 2002 or 24 years. I was just a child last time Türkiye was in the World Cup, and I remember vividly that I was on a football camp. I think it was a replay of the Brazil game where we got knocked out, and I remember going home from that camp crying, going to my dad and asking if he got eliminated, and he said yes. And I don't remember exactly, but because I was a child. But this generation, I can't wait to see them in a World Cup. I remember 2008. I got a Powerade when it was in Euros. Um, I don't know why I saved this, and this jersey, and of course with Arda Turan, my idol when I was little. Um, just so glad that Turkey is back in the World Cup. World Cup is just a whole different level than Euros, of course, and we deserve to be there as a nation. And I'm just so happy, can't wait for it. So glad for all our players. But let's talk about the Trabzonspor game. We just got the news that Gabriel Sara came back with the injury from the Brazilian camp. He got his national team debut there. So happy for him. But I don't think he can play against Trabzonspor. We got some huge disadvantage with players that we are missing. Leroy Sané, got 2 games banned from the Besiktas red card, which is, I think, is just ridiculous. Um, Osimhen is injured. Noah Lang is unsure. We are missing some players. Osimhen is very important for us, but we still have a strong squad. From what I have seen, some people are talking about this 11 where Uğurcan Çakır in goal, Wilfred Singo as right back, Davinson Sanchez, Abdülkerim center backs, Jakobs left back, Torreira Lemina midfielders, Salai and Baris wingers, Yunus Akgün attacking midfielder, and Mauri Icardi on top. First of all, this 11, I'm not sure if Okan Hoca will go out with this 11 because he has shown us lately that um, he's not relying on Mauri Icardi. And against Trabzonspor away, Trabzonspor, if they win this game, they're just 1 point behind us. But of course, with one more game playing, but it's so important game for them. I'm seeing that they are making a tifo. It's trending on Twitter, so they are taking this game so seriously, which they should do. So for Galatasaray, this will be a very, very difficult game. And, many of our players played national team. For example, Abdülkerim, Barış Alper, Uğurcan Çakır. From the game against Kosovo, it's just 4 days then playing against Trabzonspor, which, okay, people will say, but physically they will, come back. But the mentally thing, the game against Kosovo, how much it cost mentally is just on another level, I think, with all the things that Turkey hasn't been in World Cup in 24 years, and probably for a player like Abdülkerim, his last chance, maybe not for Uğurcan Çakır or Barış Alper or Yunus Akgün or those players, but yeah, mentally I believe it costs them a lot. Wilfred Singo played as a right back for Ivory Coast, and I saw clips that he played incredibly well there. Jakobs played the game 90 minutes. Lemina and Torreira has rested and been on Galatasaray's trainings. The same with Icardi. Salah played. I think he played as a striker. Davinson Sanchez played against France, but he came early, so he has been on trainings. That's very important because the Colombia, the flight and everything. So to have him early back was very important, I believe. This 11 is very strong, but if I'm gonna guess, I believe Okonoja will come out with 11 like this because I don't think he's relying on the Mauri Icardi anymore. from what I've seen, lately when against Liverpool when Osimhen got injured, he put Baris there. So I'm not sure. Noah Lang is unsure with his finger. He was on in the Netherlands squad, but he didn't play anything, and probably they would check if he's going to be ready to play. But we have players like Salah and Yunus Akgün who can play there, so I don't think he will force Noah Lang to play. I'm not sure, but Noah Lang is important as well. As I said, that it was a mistake to not start with him against Liverpool because he's a player that can keep the ball. But now, if you're playing, for example, with Ilkay Gundogan and Yunus Akgün, they can keep the ball and keep the possession high up on the field. I'm gonna say this: Baris for me, as a striker, especially against teams that are in low blocks, I don't think he's good enough because he's not good with the ball when he's getting the ball and and involving himself in the final third and everything. Yes, he has improved, but still I think he's far behind, with his movements, his choices with the ball. Sometimes, for example, against Alanyaspor away, the cup game, he was incredible as a forward, but I think his games as a striker is so much up and down. And for example, against Liverpool when he played there, he was. I know that every players was very weak in that game, but Baris I'm not sure. I'm not sure as a striker, to be honest. And yeah, I don't know, but I have a feeling that Okanojo would start with something like this. So it's still a very strong 11, and with Torreira, Ilkay Gundogan, and Lemina, you can win that midfield, which I believe will be very, very important in this game. Because Trabzonspor, let's look at Trabzonspor's 11. I'm not sure if this is going to be their 11, but from what I have seen, this is like the most 11s I've seen from Trabzonspor's when they're guessing it. Because Batagov is very unsure and probably will not play. Olay is suspended with yellow cards, which is very, very good for us. Good news. But again, they have their squad is not bad if you're looking at this 11. Ernest Mucci has started training, so I believe he will start against us. This is a very important game for Trabzonspor. And they're playing home, This 11 with Unana in goal, Pina, Nvaik, Wu, there's a new center back from the winter transfer window. Sorry for butchering the name. Savic as center back. Mustafa as left back. They got Løvik, but from what I read, he is injured. The Norwegian left back. I'm not sure. Folcarelli and Ozan as central midfielder. Zubkov and Felipe Augusto as wingers. Mucci as offensive midfielder and Onacho on top. This is the 11 I've seen. First of all, Ozan Tufan has played a lot as a right back lately, and Pina has been on the bench, but I believe Fatih Tekke will play with Pina as right back because of our very fast wingers. Even if, Salah and Yunus Akgün are not as fast as Leroy Sané and Baris Alper, for example, but they are still very good offensive wingers, especially Yunus Akgün. So this 11 is not weak either, but a player like Savic, for example, he's a very, very experienced center back, but he's very, very slow. We saw that against Eyüpspor, for example. He's not, going in the offensive marking, going tight on his striker. He doesn't do that often because he's afraid of the space behind him. Nivaivu, the other center back, it's like a scout transfer, which Trabzonspor lately has been very, very strong on. And he seems like, he can take the Super League by storm, I believe, in the future. It's that kind of name. But, Zubkov is very strong winger. He's a very dangerous winger. I believe their midfielders here are the weakest link. But again, Ozan Tufan, if he has his day, he's a physical, strong midfielder, and he can take the ball up with him and run through our lines, midfielder lines, for example. So he's a dangerous, how can I say it? He's a dangerous player, especially against us. He's often playing good against Galatasaray or Zantufan. Ernest Mucci can score from everything, free kicks, long shots. So we need to be really careful there. But of course, and Felipe Augusto also got a very good foot. But their striker Onacho is a so dangerous player. He loves to get body contact. Lemina in the first game when we played home, he had so control on him, but Onacho, he's so hard to have an eye on. You can't let Trabzonspor get too many crosses because he can score from everything on crosses, Onacho. And another thing that Trabzonspor is, have advantage of instead of Galatasaray is that not many of these players has played national team. For example, Onacho played like 20 minutes for Nigeria, I believe. Zubko played a little bit. So, and look at the Turkish players and look at Galatasaray's Turkish players, where we had like 5 or 6 players in the national team squad. And like I said, the mental um, struggle there will cost Galatasaray a lot, I believe. So this will be probably a very tight game, but a very, very important game for both teams. Galatasaray are playing against Göztepe 4 days later, which will be so difficult. Away again. So for Galatasaray, yes, we have a huge advantage right now, 4 points ahead of Trabzonspor and Fenerbahce with one more game less played. But to play against Trabzonspor and Göztepe away, missing player like Osimhen is just, it's very, very scary, I believe. Many of our players won't be able to train more than 1 or 2 days before the Trabzonspor game. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, but I believe in Galatasaray, so can't wait for the game. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button and subscribe button, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.